All right, well, we are about to go live here tonight for this race, or you could say this afternoon. Give me 1 second, and let me mute some of these other guys. Is it working? Is it working? It's working. What's up, guys? Atlanta Racing here, and we're about to go live here today for the Shake and Bake F1 Series at the Spanish Grand Prix. If you're looking at the track right now, you can see just in that detection zone, right there at the top. You got a speed trap right there when you're coming out of the final turn, crossing that start-finish line, and going into the first turn. DRS detection zone is right there between 8 and 9. Second one's going to be between 15 and 16 here today for this Spanish Grand Prix. Let me turn my TV down. It is loud. All right, well, we are good to go right there. And greatly appreciate you guys tuning in as we're going to go live to the track for qualifying. And this will be my last broadcast on this Elgato software. I have switched over to OBS, and it is much easier. It is much more intuitive. It's just overall just a very much better software, especially when you get to the changing of the scenes. So you guys will notice when I change scenes on here, it'll kind of like glitch out and then do its thing. But on there, it's seamless. It looks a lot more like a real broadcast. So bringing you guys that. Also got my new mic stand in as well. I'm gonna have to figure out, I think I'm gonna need to put my camera over just a little bit and see if that works a little bit better here today. But so far we've got Rangers in the top spot, and nobody has actually completed a full lap yet, with 15 minutes left to go here in the Spanish Grand Prix. The qualifying, not the whole street. Making sure I am muted right there. I know some drivers do like to listen to my voice, but I try to let them tune into the stream so the channels are clear in the chat, so nobody has to worry about me talking over them or anything like that. Well, we were here last week. I believe we only had, though, 8 or 9 drivers. Now we've got 10 drivers, but it looks like more than a cape. I believe this happened last week as well. He has been disqualified from this qualifying session. I'm not too sure if he left or what happened. I don't know if he's disqualified. He's grayed out, and that's what happened last time. So I'm going to go with that for right now, but we'll see if he makes his way back into this session. But so far, so good with Rangers in ICER 1. And I greatly appreciate that. Follow ICER 1 just a few moments ago. Skyline leaves Justin J. MacTac, who had a birthday, I believe it was yesterday, so happy birthday to him if he rewatches his stream. I just told him in the party, but telling him on here as well. Dion 4 Dub, Tom Flitty, Gary from Canada, and David McC 1989. It has been so fun this season so far, getting to know these guys and their driving habits and how they enjoy F1, and they have grown as well, I feel like, as drivers throughout this whole entire season. So it has been a fun process, I feel like, for both of us. We're both learning this F1 world coming over from NASCAR, so it's a learning curve, but once you got one down, you got another. Just like, when I was learning music software, I used FL Studio first, and I switched to Ableton. Small learning curve, just like OBS in this Elgato software. Once you got it, you got it. Best friend right there in the chat, Bruce Apocalypse, Brucey 2549. Ayo, Greatly appreciate you tuning in, brother, as we only have 12.5 minutes left in this qualifying session. And so far, Rangers has the fastest lap. Dion 4 Dub trailing just behind. Jay McIntyre, Gary from Canada, and Icer1 going to be rounding up your top 5. But a lot of these guys have only completed 1 or 2 laps. So getting those tires heated up and ready to get a good qualifying lap. And you got a lot of time, so make it work in your favor. Well, Rick James was, you know, he's usually my co-host on here. It's only happened, I think, a few times, but unfortunately, we both have to work on Saturdays. Myself running here straight after work. I got off at 12:30 and zooted on home and made sure we were good to go for this shake and bake race, but a lot of times that has me working on this the night before. So as long as I remember to work on it the night before, I am good to go. Well, as we're sitting there in pits, I forgot to grab the dang controller to watch some other guys. Here we are on board with Leafs Justin. Let me turn this up. Sorry, that hurt your speakers just a little bit. Let me turn it up just a little bit because I do not have these guys actually talking through the party chat, and I don't have any other audio, so I want to make sure that you guys can hear this pretty well. Everybody knows you want to hear these cars throughout the race, but Rangers, Leafs, Justin right there. We're going to have a minute 15.622 for Rangers, minute 17, about 2 seconds behind for Leafs, Justin. About a second behind right there in third is going to be Dion 4 Dub, J McIntyre only 0.7 hundredths of a second, 0.7 of a second, I'm so sorry. Right there behind is J McIntyre, Gary from Canada, about a second behind, and Icer1 only about 0.5 of a second behind right there. Top 6 as Skyline and Tom Flitty are out, as well as David McSee 1989. And I'm ready to get this race underway. In only 10 minutes, we'll be taking the Shake and Bake F1 Series for the, almost said the Shake and Bake Grand Prix. No, it's the Spanish Grand Prix. Both have S's, but whatever. We're about to get ready to roll. F170 logo right there under that car, or above that car. That is too cool. One of my favorite logos they have ever done. Gary from Canada right there, zipping around the track. Jesus smack! Look at the sun creating that that glare back there. That's pretty cool to see. The graphics have come that far in games. Well, it looks like the top leaders are down into pits right now. They're going to be looking to maybe get some fresh tires or do 1 or 2 more laps before this qualifying session wraps up. And it looks like the bottom 3 are going to be out qualifying right now, kind of taking their time. Gary from Canada on his out lap, and still no word from More Than a Cape. Hopefully he will join in here into this this chat session and maybe tell us what happened, or come over them. I think I might have accidentally muted him, but had to mute some guys just for talking reasons. Unfortunately, talking and hearing multiple people talk in your ear, it doesn't work. It's hard. Man, oh man. Very, very close qualifying times here today. Everybody looking like they did some practicing this week for this Spanish Grand Prix. And it's always interesting when you load into these sessions. You know, these guys could theoretically load into a race, I believe, with rain. I don't think they have control over the weather. So, you know, if they run into a race with rain, which we have seen multiple times this season, then it just gets harder and harder for them, especially when you have qualified in a very dry, sunny condition like this, going straight to wet, or vice versa. If you qualify super, super wet and then you go in to try to race it dry, some of those tendencies for wet can come into play since you just were racing it like that. So we'll see what happens, but Skyline right there, and Rangers with the top lap. The Skyline's going to be setting it up, taking the bar up right there to second place. He is just now going to be 2 seconds behind the top of Rangers. Nobody can crack that 116 yet, or that 115. The only one is Rangers. So far he is going to be the car to beat here today. And that sounded like there was going to be something else at the end. And there wasn't. J Mac Attack taking his outlap right there in the Racing Point car. Gary from Canada making his way around as well. But Rangers really setting the bar. Skyline setting the bar too. He was waiting to take his lap, and he took it well, ending up in second place with only 6 minutes and 45 seconds left in this qualifying session. Everybody's going to have to be taking their laps here soon and getting ready to go into green flag racing. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in for this race. Man, oh man, what are we? Let's see, it's like just 46 away from 500, and I'm like $7 away from the next Twitch check. So I mean, you guys have been killing it lately, supporting me, supporting, you know, Shake and Bake, supporting the Pure Speed Elite Series. Everything I get on here, man, you guys are always helping out and throwing it up, and I really want to give a shout out, even though we're not in his race right now, to one of the leaders of the Pure Speed Elite Series, which is going to be his name always is a tongue twister because it's Richard Rico, I believe. Yeah, Richard Rico. I'm always getting it wrong, but Richard Rico, man, him, especially Frozen, those are two prime examples of what a lead commissioner should look like. Frozen always making sure that us broadcasters, especially being a broadcaster herself, we have what we need to complete the race, and we're good for the season. As well as Richard Rico, man, he's been messaging me. iRacing's a little different. You've got tracks that you have to buy, cars that you have to buy, and I told him, only thing is if I don't have a track, just pay for the track. And man, he paid me 3 days ago for the track for tomorrow. So, being that ahead of the game and really, making sure I don't have to worry about anything and I've got the track ready to go, that's the kind of stuff that us broadcasters appreciate, as Gary from Canada is going to get into a little incident right there and head back onto the track. Not too sure what happened, but we're going to be looking at the top three right now. It's going to be Rangers, Skyline, Leafs, Justin, with top five going to be Dion 4 Dub and the J Mac Attack 34. Speaking of Frozen and Richard Rico, Pure Speed Elite Series PSES on iRacing, Frozen and J Mac Attack will be on the Cup Series side for their broadcast. Myself will be doing the ARCA Series, so I'll be getting the newcomers, the rookies, and honestly, that's what I like to watch. I like to watch the guys that are trying to make a name for themselves. They're racing hard. Sometimes they race a little harder than they should, but it's still very, very fun. And then I'll actually be doing we're going to be doing a super speedway shootout, I believe, for the PSES here in a couple of weeks. So I'll be doing that for the Cup Series. That will be very, very fun over at Daytona. So if you want to get in contact and possibly join Shake and Bake, they run NASCAR F1 iRacing. You can contact Miss Frozen Toes 24 over on her Twitch channel or on her Twitter. You can also contact Dion 4 Dub for the F1 series. Greatly appreciate everything he does for the F1 series. He is the commissioner, I guess you could say, or the leader. He is the main man. He brings it all together every week. So greatly appreciate that, Dion, for everything you contribute and for being in fourth right there. Good job. Still looking at pretty much the same lineup, though, for top five. Always nerve-wracking, and you're going to see right there Icer 1 do the smart thing. He's going to be slowing down for this qualifying session. You think, why would you slow down? Well, you don't want to be, dinging up your car and losing a possible good lap right there with a car just coming up next to you. Everybody trying to run their fastest lap, but 2.5 minutes remain in this qualifying session. I know these qualifying sessions can get just a little bit dull because, they're just kind of running it, but I know some people really like to enjoy and watch these because it kind of gives you insight into how the race is going to go. I mean, you can see who has the fastest lap, and by, you know, doing these onboard cameras and kind of getting a gist of where each individual driver is racing, you can kind of get a better understanding of the driver themselves and how they race. They're going to cut it, you know, super tight. They're going to still stay to the outside. They have a specific line they run every time, no matter what. We'll see, but lots of drivers headed down into pits. Gary Canada coming out, Jay McAttack out as well. And it looks like the top driver still sitting in pits as well. 2 minutes left in this qualifying session. And we'll be headed to some green flag racing here today for the Shake and Bake F1 Series live for the Spanish Grand Prix. Looks like Jay McAttack and Gary from Canada going to be the only two drivers out right now, still completing their laps. Gary going into pits with 50 seconds left, and it looks like Jay McAttack is about to do the same. And we are about to get racing here today. I'm excited, and I do remember they're going to be doing that pace lap first, so I'm not going to get excited when they go lap 0. Just slipping in right there, Jay McAttack getting into pits. He is going to qualify today in 5th. And I believe this is going to be the final order as we go through, and I am correct. Rangers, X15, Skyline, Leafs Justin, Dion Ford Dub, Jay McAttack going to round up top 5. Gary from Canada, Icer 1, David McSee 1989, and Tom Flitty in 9th place, going to be rounding up these 9 drivers. More than a Kate getting disqualified or disconnecting or something, so I'm not too sure if he's going to be joining us for this race, but if he does, he will be here in 10th place. Well, this session's going to be wrapping up in about 9 seconds. Dion Ford Dub, it looks like, has invited me to play. I believe he is inviting somebody else into the thing. I've accidentally made that mistake before. Joining back into the same session, that is never fun, let me tell you. Well, it looks like More Than a Cape actually might be loading in. His name is right there with a loading bar, so usually that does mean that driver will be joining us for today's race here for the Spanish Grand Prix. Looks like everybody loading in right now. Getting ready for this race. Like I said, this will be my last stream on the Elgato software, so after today, no more little glitches when I switch scenes or anything like that. It's going to be smooth sailing over on OBS, as I have learned on iRacing, and I have halfway set it up for Xbox, but I didn't want to use it today. I didn't have it completely finished the exact way I want to. I wanted to have I have a vision for it, per se, so I want it to look a certain way when I do decide to get on that OBS. Probably, I guess it'll be the Shake and Bake F1 Series next week will be the first stream on that. Well, my next stream, though, will be tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Pure Speed Elite Series ARCA race over on iRacing. If you want to catch that, you can tune in about 8:25. I'll have the stream started up as we are going to be good and started for that pace lap here. Ranger, Skyline, Leafs Justin, top 3 as they're pacing out for this Grand Prix here at Spanish Grand Prix. You know, it's like the guys like who say, you know, the race car is on the racetrack with race car drivers here today at the racetrack with race car drivers with racetrack. You know, you just say the same thing over and over again in a different manner. Getting those tires warmed up, though, that is very important. It's something iRacing has taught me. Lap 19 through 22 is going to be... Is that really the pit? Well, I guess there's 33 laps, so you can take what you want. Around 15 to 18 is when you'd probably want to head down into pits, something like that, but... Well, if you guys are in the chat, if y'all are actually able to chat, if you're looking forward to a F1 race this year in the real world, what is your favorite track, or what track are you looking forward to the most this year? And what driver do you think will be a standout? If no one answers, it's okay. I know how it is. Ranger, Skyline, Leaf Justin, Dion Ford Dub, Jay McAttack, Gary from Canada, Icer1, David McSee 1989, Tom Flitty, and More Than a Cape. 10 drivers taking on this Spanish Grand Prix here today for the F1 Shake and Bake Series. And we're about to get things going. Bruce, I know you love Bahrain. Sector 3, yellow flag. Is somebody jumping the gun? We're about to find out. Let's go racing here today for the Shake and Bake F1 Series. Immediately, Rangers pulling out fast, top spot right there. He's going to be taking it wide. A couple of drivers going to be taking it a little too close, but it looks like most of them are... Oh, no! Spinning out right there. It's going to be the J-Mac attack. No, it's not. Hold on. Oh, man, it's Leafs Justin right there already spinning out. Lots of drivers colliding with each other, causing some commotion. Big time. And David McSee, 1989, in the dirt as well. Gary from Canada suffering as well. Man, More Than a Cape slowing down. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. 3 drivers already spinning out. Rangers keeping it steady. He is your first place top spot right there. Skyline, Dion Ford Dub, top 3. On board with Skyline, he's trying to get up to Rangers. He's 1.3 seconds behind. Dion Ford Dub right there as well, trying to catch up with Skyline. These top 3 are pretty darn close for an F1 race, but we are only at the beginning. 32 laps to go here for this race. As we got an onboard right here, let's go to Skyline. Taking a look back, you can see Dion right there. Rangers just ahead. Even closer race right here. J-Mac Tag getting that corner down. 4 of Icer1 going up. Rangers, Skyline. Uh-oh, something's happening up here. Rangers in your top spot, and it looks like Skyline has actually gotten up into second place. Not too sure why that ticker is wrong, but Rangers is your top driver right now. It looks like Skyline trying to actually catch up with Rangers. And it looks like David McSee, 1989, trying to compare him right here. Yep, Rangers is in that top spot. Yellow flag in Sector 2, not too sure what happened. But David McSee, 1989, falling all the way back to 10th place. More Than a Cape, though, has made his way up from the back all the way up into 6th. Drivers talking right now in the chat that, yeah, the telemetry glitched out. Yeah, you're exactly right, Bruce. You took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what they're talking about here in the chat. As we have some very close racing right here. We're going to be taking it on board with More Than a Cape. That driver that did stop at the back in ICER 1's going to be headed down into pits here, right? More Than a Cape's going to pass him, getting into that top 5 spot. J-Mac Attack crossing the start-finish line as well. As we go back up to Rangers, your top driver for lap 3 of this 33-lap race here for the Spanish Grand Prix. You're watching the Shake and Bake F1 Series live today with Atlanta Racing. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in here. We're going to be doing some giveaways as soon as 2 giveaways, 500 and the next Twitch, Twitch stuff. So that will be the next 2 giveaways. I haven't decided if I want to do, I think I might do one F1, one NASCAR, but the F1 is a lot harder to get your hands on, so we'll see. Well, big shout out to my brother Bruce in the chat right there. He got me something today that is very hard to come by these days, and I've been searching for it for a while, and he got me some, so greatly appreciate that. It's nothing bad or anything like that, but it's just something that's sold out at every store you can imagine, and it sucks that I go around looking at all these stores and you can't find it anywhere. But luckily, he won a giveaway, and we're good to go. But don't you just love the sound of these F1 cars, man? They are something else. We're going to go on board, though, with Tom Flitty as he has gotten up into that 6th place spot. More Than a Cape still sitting in 5th as the slipstream is working to the favor right there of Tom. He's going to be pulling on back, getting it past More Than a Cape up to 5th place now. J-Mac Attack in 4th. And everybody else is pretty much away from each other, except we're going to have a yellow flag in Sector 1. Not too sure what that is about. But More Than a Cape now trying to do the same maneuver on Tom Flitty, trying to get that slipstream, catch on up. Gary from Canada right there as well, trying to possibly, just cut that corner a little bit better than those guys. And More Than a Cape big time into the dirt right there. That's going to cause him to lose his momentum, slow way down, give the advantage for Gary from Canada to get up behind More Than a Cape right there, trying to overtake him for 6th place. We'll see if that happens in a couple laps, but not right now. We're going to go to Tom Flitty and look back as we're on board with him for this 4th lap of 33 here today. Tom being a great driver. I've talked to him quite a bit over on the Twitter side of NASCAR and F1, so great guy right there. Sector 2, Sector 3, we're going to be having flags out. Not too sure what drivers were involved with that, but you can see just how fragile these F1 cars are with those wings coming around the corner, the way they bounce. They are just meant to bend with the air. They are just so delicate. That is why they often, especially when they first introduced that stuff, man, those things were falling off like crazy. I remember a lot of teams had different types of F1 wings, and they would just fall off. Like they would fall off all the time. So it was kind of funny. And this is when we were getting the bigger boxier wings up top, when a lot of drivers or a lot of teams were trying to do something different, trying to get some kind of advantage with the downforce right there on those wings. But it looks like Tom Flitty is going to be spinning out. He can't even get it back up. There he is. He's getting it back up under control. Tom Flitty right there, unfortunately losing some positions, but he has got it back. And F1 cars, if you know how to do it, man, you can throw it into that gear and swing it around just like it's crazy. You just swing it around like a bat or something. I don't even know what to compare it to. Tom Flitty still getting back leaps. Justin's able to overtake your top 3, Ranger Skylon and Dion Ford Dub. They have still been racing their hardest. And now we've got some racing right here. Gary from Canada. Oh, he's actually going to be going down to the pits. More Than a Cape now. Going to be still maintaining that top 5 spot in 5th. He's gained half the field up, so Gary from Canada, Tom Flitty currently in the pits, lap 6 of 33 here today for this Spanish Grand Prix. Tom Flitty falling all the way back, unfortunately, into 10th place. ICER 1 now in 8th. David McSee, 1989 in 7th. Leafs Justin in 6th. More Than a Cape in 5th. And let me tell you, man, I knew Rangers over on the NASCAR Heat side of things, and he is fast. Take him on over here to the F1 side. You can tell that he's a natural driver, man. He is just super good. We were seeing him last week doing this as well. And, you know, there's people who are good at driving, and I feel like there's people who are good at driving and they're naturally good. They're naturally good drivers. You see it a lot of times, especially with people like Lewis Hamilton. You know, he was on the television age 4, age 5, showing newscasters how fast he can race RC cars, and then they've got him doing go-karts, and now he is Sir Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion for the F1 series, the best there has ever been. When you are looking at the best, though, when it comes to drivers, you always have to consider the history of F1 and the top drivers in the sport back in the day. You do have to consider the electronics, all of the system calibrations, everything that goes into the cars now, all the computers, how your car is steering halfway for itself. I remember when, you know, the automatic suspension or whatever it was with the Senna, and we watched that Senna documentary, Bruce, they were talking about how, you know, Senna was not as good in the cars that had the, you know, the electronic suspension where you know it's bending for you around the corners, and you know, I feel like that's partially what we saw with Jimmy Johnson in the NASCAR Cup Series when they hit a new package back in the early 2010s. Is when Jimmy Johnson, you know, it just wasn't made for him. So, but Rangers being one of those drivers, I feel like is naturally good. A lot of these guys great as well. Jay McIntyre, Leafs Justin's great drivers. I know Jay McIntyre was in the NASCAR Heat Pro League, so that just goes to show you. My friend Bruce, you know, we've talked about it many times. If we ever had a race team, I'd be crew chief, he'd be driver, because he is naturally good at driving. He used to race Legends cars. He's super knowledgeable on the cars, the history of what does what, so that's what you want in a driver. You don't want a driver that's sitting there in a chair flipping through Instagram while the guys are working on it. You want a driver who's sitting there telling you what they think should happen, maybe, you know, giving their input, how the car felt on the practice run, and you know, we really saw that a lot with Alan Kawicki, you know, having his own race team. He was, you know, out there with you know, rulers, you know, making sure everything was aerodynamically correct. So it's very, very cool to see. I know that there is a new show coming out on Netflix. I think it's called The Pit Crew or something like that, and it stars Kevin James, which is one of my personal favorite comedians. He was just hilarious. But I do know over on that Pit Crew, it had the driver, and he was just chilling, like making the. I know it is a spoof, it's a satire, but it was having the driver just sitting there like flipping on his phone, and I was like, yeah, that's not how you probably want your driver. Especially when they're discussing the possibility of you getting only a top 10. Rangers cutting is super, super close right there. Man, I don't know if you saw, but the way he just took that corner, he was right there on the edge, on board. Okay, you can tell, man, look how the way he is taking it. He knows just how much grass he can get into in these corners and not get loose. And I believe that rainbow right there on top of this McLaren car is going to signify, I think, the one is all, or the equal. I can't remember the hashtag, but racing is one, equality for all in the F1 series. That is going to be a theme as well, I believe, for the 2021 series, and I love to see it. As I said on Twitter the other day, nobody, no matter what they look like, how they feel, what they like, nobody should have to worry about anything. All that matters is if you love racing and how you perform on the track, nothing else matters. And like I always say, if it doesn't affect you, why does it matter? If somebody's happy, let them be happy. On board right there with Ranger Skyline, taking it a little bit slower than Rangers around those corners. Not meaning to laugh, but man, just the difference between those two drivers is we have 15.5 seconds between first and second. We're going to be taking a look back just like last week. We saw a lot of hot racing between the mid-pack. So that's what we're seeing this week as well as David McC 1989 still itching, to get up to that top 5 spot. More than the Cape has been able to hold it this entire time, but not too many lead changes up there in the top 5. We've seen it more in the back. J-Mac Attack up in 6th, David McC, like I said, J-Mac Attack in 7th, David McC in 6th, Gary from Canada in 8th, Icer 1 in 9th, and Tom Flitty very, very close to 9th, but unfortunately he did have that wreck earlier, and that cost him some positioning here during the Spanish Grand Prix. Shake and Bake F1 Series, yes, Brucey, I'm gassing you up, sir. The thing is I always tell people, if you're good, you're good. And I'll tell you, if you're bad, you're bad. I'll tell you. You're good. So, you're real good. So, just how it is. It's like my friend, one of my good friends, Brandon. I remember when he was in his early days of producing music. I'm a music producer. I was helping him out, kind of getting him on his feet. Now he sends me tracks. Let me tell you something. This man has just a crazy good sound. R. Anderson, what's up, Atlanta? When are you coming back to do a truck race for us to have Fast Family? Funny you say that. I was actually Sector 3 right there. We're going to be seeing a yellow flag. Funny you say that, R. Anderson. I was actually talking to Mr. Slide Job earlier. I'm going to be helping him either later today or tomorrow on a video he wanted to do. So, yeah, I need to talk to him and see when the Truck Series runs for Fast Family. R. Anderson, when do the Truck Series run? If you know the day and the time, I could probably give you a better indication if I was able to do it. I can tell you right now, I do have obligations Sundays at 8:30 at night and Saturdays at 1, which is right now what we're doing for the Shake and Bake F1 Series. But, Sunday at 6. So, I could probably do it. It wouldn't be a very common thing for me to be able to do it, but I could probably do one here soon. That just being given R. Anderson, because I would have to do your truck race or do the Fast Family truck race. Yeah, an hour and a half to 7:30, and then immediately I would have to switch everything over and get ready for the iRace. So if I have work the next day, that's a pretty heavy load, so we'll see. But I'd love to come over there and do some more Fast Family racing, some trucks over there, sorry. Yeah, R. Anderson, Slide Job is actually one of my my good friends outside of NASCAR. There's only been a handful of people that I feel like I've become actual friends with. That I NASCAR Heat, playing with. And Bruce Apocalypse, obviously my freaking best friend. Met him on NASCAR Heat. Now he lives up near me, so we hang out all the time. Unfortunately, the past 2 times we have had stuff come up and not even been able to do Christmas yet, but nonetheless, we're going to do Christmas when we can. And Mr. Slide Job being one, I Am Rick James, Repeat, Ace Petty. There's a couple of more, but it's awesome making friends with these guys. And Rowdy Trucks, met Rowdy Trucks at the Talladega race. Tristan Bailey, hopefully going to meet him at a Talladega race. I unfortunately couldn't meet up with him at the last race because the way they had it configured in June and the way they had it configured at the fall race were completely different. So Bruce can contest. We basically went in, found our seats, realized that the merchandise was outside in the parking lot, so we had to leave, scan our tickets, go buy stuff, and go back through security. Not very fun. David McC, 1989 right there, falling to J-Mac Attack, who is now going through the car to try to catch that 5th place for a top 5. Tom Flitty back 50 seconds from Icer 1 now with a flag as well. And when I talk about donations and stuff, I try to put as much as I can back into this stream, whether it be buying iRacing tracks, I just bought a boom, or not a boom, I keep calling it a boom mic stand. It's a desk stand for my mic, so I can actually, you know, look into my camera that I got for the stream and, you know, talk, and you can see me, guys, and actually have a little bit more. But we're going to see more than a cape right there. He fought his way all the way up into that top 5 spot. Falling back, safety car is out, yellow flag, driver saying you got your wish. And here we go behind the virtual safety car, or not virtual safety car, it's a real safety car to shake things up. We are lap 14 of 33. We are almost halfway done with this race. Drivers probably thinking about heading into pits and getting some fresh tires soon, as we are heading into that pit zone, or pit window, you could say. Well, if you've never heard me talk about it, while we are behind this safety car, I collect these figures that are called NECAs. They have them in the electronics section at Target. They've got them at Best Buy as well as Walmart. Target's going to have the best selection, though, let me tell you. We've got Predator, Terminator, Back to the Future, E.T., Tron. And I am currently waiting on the last one I need for Back to the Future. It's going to be the dock. And I believe that USPS maybe lost my package. It was supposed to be here yesterday, is not here today, and I am like, what the heck? But nonetheless, we are progressing here in this race. Halfway through lap 16, we'll be halfway through this race. We're having Rangers pit, Skyline pit. Told you these guys are, this is probably the best time to have a caution like this, as More Than a Cape is going to have a flag as well. Falling all the way back into that 9th place spot. Let's run through the field real quick. Rangers right there in your top spot still. Skyline coming out of pits. It's Justin in pits. Dion Ford Dub looks like he is in pits as well. J Mac Attack headed into pits. Gary from Canada out. David McSeat 1989 out. Icer 1 out as well. Well, I guess you heard that little beep right there. That was going to be the beep signifying, telling that driver to get going. I don't know if it was Kimi Räikkönen or what, where he was in pits and he's like needing another glove. Or Kimi Räikkönen reminds me a lot of a Kyle Busch. A little bit cooler though. Not that Kyle Busch isn't cool. If you have a son and you get your son in a race team and have him racing like that, winning races, and I mean, not only does that boost your kid's confidence, but I mean, you've got a natural talent right there. You're already, just like Chase Elliott, running super young down in, I need more drink, Kimmy. All right, Kimmy. It's always funny how you know, distressed the drivers will sound sometimes, how funny sometimes the drivers will sound, such as Lando Norris. That man is either laughing, crying, or smiling in his car. You cannot break that spirit of Lando. Lewis Hamilton as well, able to usually keep it pretty cool. I feel like he has a very chill mojo and able to keep it cool. Sebastian Vettel as well. Had a couple of incidents where he got mad, but I feel like he's gotten more progressive over the years and just a lot more positive. Well, Brucey, we've talked about going back to the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame, and let me tell you something right now. I know I saw on Twitter just a few days ago they are getting a new Bill Elliott car. Just got a new Bill Elliott car restored from one of the, I think it's a Thunderbird, so that'll be cool to see next time we go. It's all white. Not a very common paint scheme you saw for Bill Elliott running that all white car. Used to that almost fire truck red when he ran later years running that McDonald's car. Now he has got Chase Elliott running that 9-car 400 Motorsports. My favorite driver, always got to rep the Georgia boy. Safety car still out. 16 laps of 33 have been completed here today for this Shake and Bake F1 Series Spanish Grand Prix race. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in, as Skyline is now going to be having a flag as well. Not too sure where that occurred, but that is definitely going to impact this race, as he is going to either have to serve a penalty or have a few second time penalty, and Leaf Justin has been right there all race, so he's going to have to worry about that. Leaf Justin maybe getting a better podium than him if they can all stay in the top 3. We'll see. Little helicopter view right there, always cool. Now the drones have really become the thing to do, especially they have these drones now where you can soup them up and go really high and stuff. I mean, you don't even need a helicopter anymore when you film movies. You just get a drone. We have seen, though, unfortunately, the drone fall out of the sky a couple times, and I do not believe that would be very good for anybody. I saw it in an F1 race, and I have seen it during a downhill skiing event. Well, shout out to my coworker who I told him I had to stream this race today, and they were like, just go. You got to stream it. So it's always good when you have you know, fellow coworkers who game and enjoy game. This particular coworker, their sister actually has done a lot of work for League of Legends, doing some commercials for them. So learned that today. That's pretty cool. Bringing that gaming community full circle. Know my other friends there like to play World of Warcraft a lot. Dirt 5. My friend was talking to me about Dirt 5. It's funny because anytime anybody starts playing a racing game, they usually come to me to talk about it. One guy, Joe, came up to me and started talking about Forza. Another one talking about Dirt 5 right there with Brendan. So and if you've ever seen the F1 drivers do the exercise in the gym where they put a strap on their head and they have somebody pull and it looks like they are in the worst pain of their life, that is going to be because these drivers have enormous amounts of G-force put on them throughout the race. When they're going around these turns, I wish you had a G-force meter. Usually you can. But you can see just how much it's impacting, as we have free flag racing here today for Shake and Bake F1 Series. Dion Ford Dub going to get a penalty right there, as our cars are stacked up once again. Skyline with a penalty, but now only 0.6 seconds behind that top driver. 1.1 seconds in between second and third. Top 3 is going to be Rangers, Skyline, Leafs, Justin, as Gary from Canada has fallen back from Icer 1's going to take over that 7th place spot. So we have some very tight racing here today for the Spanish Grand Prix. J-Mac Attack locking up those tires. He's almost going to get into the back of Icer 1, but not enough to spin him out. Icer 1's going to get out in front, overtaking in that 6th place spot, going back up to Dion Ford Dub. He's trying to take it up with the 3rd place of Leafs Justin. Leafs Justin trying to get Skyline. That caution really stack these guys up once again. We're not seeing those huge leads that we did, but Tom Tom's going to be a lap down just behind Gary from Canada in more than a K. So Gary from Canada doing a very good job right there of maintaining his car. I know going around that corner just like he did, you're trying to catch up with these guys, get as much as you can, but you can see he almost just spun out, and you can hear it in the chat. More than a K doing a great job, though, of keeping his car steady, as well as he is getting the slipstream of J-Mac here on the front straightaway. Speed trap, as we talked about before this race got underway. Remember that DRS detection zone is going to be right before the end of the lap and right in the middle between turns 8 and 9. 14 laps to go here in this race for Shake and Bake F1 Series. Brucey, greatly appreciate you tuning in. Art Anderson. Only face that isn't in here that I'm used to being in here is usually Frozen will say hey, and usually Rock NASCAR will pop up. So we'll see if these two guys, guy and girl, pop up throughout this race. But it looks like Icer won with that flag, Skyline flag, Dion for Dub and Tom Flitty. There is going to be a yellow flag. It looked like, I believe in Sector 2, it popped away before I could see it. And it looks like Tom Flitty is actually a minute and 23 seconds behind now. A lot of drivers saying that they are a little bit scared of Tom, but he is ghosted, so nothing to be scared about. You're good to go. But one big factor right now we're going to be seeing is that a lot of these cars are going to be right there in that 1 second interval between the car behind or the car in front, and that's going to be able to allow them to get the DRS detection zone, or the DRS button, I guess, enabled, and you're going to be getting a little bit more speed right there on some of those straightaways. But man, Ranger's pulling away. He's 2.2 seconds behind. We're going to be going on board right now. But actually, let's go on with Leash Justin. He's in 3rd place, and he is trying to get right there behind Skyline. Skyline's having a fantastic race as well here today. I can tell a lot of these guys really put some practice in, throughout the season. Like I said earlier, they have gotten better and better, and it just shows here today. We haven't really had that many cautions. We did have that safety car come out just a couple of laps ago, but other than that, we're good to go with 13 laps left. I believe Rangers will have this race, but if another restack occurs, you never know. Skyline Leash Justin could get up there. Well, I still need to do a giveaway of my XSplit 3-month premium license. If you're interested and you're watching this and you think you may want that, just contact me. I'll give it to you. But I'm thinking about doing a giveaway for it again, since nobody wanted it. XSplit is going to be a 3-month premium license I'm giving away. It's a premium streaming software. It's going to do everything for you, the video, the audio. It's going to help you. It's going to have the mastering. So in FL Studio, the producing software I used to use, a lot of times it would almost make the your sound better for you. If that sounds good, it would already have kind of built-in compressors and stuff. That's how Elgato is. Let me tell you something. I did the first iRace for PSES. That is not how OBS is. I've already gone through, done a lot of stuff, working on the audio. But XSplit is something that's going to do that for you. It's going to help you out. It's going to help you render. If you want to take clips, if you want to edit, if you want to do different scenes, XSplit is the way to go. So let me know if you want that. I'll be doing a giveaway soon. If not, probably going to put that with like a car to give away. So yeah. Man, these cars sound beautiful as we're going on board with Leash Justin. He's getting closer and closer to Skyline. You can tell these tires are wearing. These guys are having to race harder and harder as the laps wind down with only almost 10 to go at the line. But more and more smoke coming out from those tires as they're slamming on the brakes, trying to speed up even faster. Just like that. Just like that. Well, I have a theory that the main two sounds that they used for the pod racers in the Star Wars Phantom Menace are NASCAR and F1 going by the and this is the one that's a theory. I believe that they used the sound of a truck J-braking and they slowed it down. And if you don't know what a truck J-braking sounds like, it sounds like a go 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 go. which what do you hear a lot in the you know, pod racing sequences? You hear the which sounds just like a J brake. Sorry if my impressions hurt your ears or anything, but that's what we're seeing. Skyline and Rangers right there still together. Let's take a look back at some of the other cars in the field. J Mac Attack right behind Dion Ford Dub, who is currently having a penalty put on his car, on his team per se. J Mac Attack, though, is good in the clear. So far, Rangers, Leafs, Justin, J Mac Attack, and Gary from Canada are the only drivers that have no incidents during this race. So they are going to be in favor of the positive when we do finish up things here today for the Spanish Grand Prix. And Bruce says, now this is pod racing. He is definitely right as Sebulba walks on by and little Annie gets in his pod racer. Little unknown fact, the beginning sequence of the pod racer race, when everybody has their flags out, walking across the racing field, everybody meeting up with their teams, that is actually modeled off after the Grand Prix movie, the Monaco movie or whatever it was back in the 1960s. If you put it side by side, frame by frame with Star Wars in that, it almost lines up directly. Whether it be the flags, whether it be how the guys are running off the track, it looks exactly the same. Bruce says, 9 laps to go in this race. Rangers still dominating. Little bit of a shake-up. Dion Ford Dub has made his way up to the top 5. Is More Than a Cape is actually going to be in pits now, getting his car worked on, as well as Icer 1, Gary from Canada, and it looks like a yellow flag in Sector 1. I believe that might have been Rangers getting into the dirt just a little bit, but we're good to go here for this shake and bake race. Greatly appreciate once again Frozen Toes and Dion Ford Dub for making this all happen, as well as the 10 drivers you see right here today for this Spanish Grand Prix. Without them, we would have no Grand Prix, so we greatly appreciate them as well. I know a lot of times they like to thank me and say, you know, we love to have a broadcaster and stuff, but without you guys, there would be no broadcast. It would just be me racing iRacing and getting mad that somebody dings me in the back with 4 incident points. Greatly appreciate that, Bruce. Trying to have some fun with these guys here today. A little bit of a shake-up with the pits now. You've got Leafs Justin trying to get up there. I don't know exactly what the penalty is for Skyline, so we're going to be going to look in the race director mode and seeing what incident Skyline has here today. Exceeding track limits is going to be the first one. Skyline with another warning right there. Going down. Warning, warning, warning. Let's see. 3 seconds. So 3-second warning is what we're going to be looking at right there with that driver. So right now, Leafs Justin is 2 seconds behind, and if it stays that way, Leafs Justin will come out on top in second place if he can maintain that distance between him and Skyline, or even catch up a little bit more. That will be very, very good for his race. Very, very beneficial. It's a better word. Man, what a cool car right there, that Alfa Romeo. Almost confused it for the Old Spice with the cursive. It almost looks like the Old Spice logo, like the old whistle thing, but Leafs Justin is falling back 2.7 seconds now. It was only 2 seconds separating him in second place, and if he lets it get to 3, he will not have that penalty coming to his favor. Now creeping up into the 2.8s and 2.9s. Man, oh man. Well, let's go look at some of these other drivers. There's a pretty good gap between everybody else right now. Tom, unfortunately, still at the back. More Than a Cape, he started at the back, made his way all the way up to top 5, unfortunately spinning out, and he was going to, you know, probably have a pretty good race, but fortunately back to 9. Icer 1, believe, wrecked out as well. Gary from Canada having a few incidents earlier. J Mac Attack been running pretty steady. He's right there in 6th place. We'll see where he ends up at the end. We only have a handful of laps left to go here at this race. About 7 to go. Well, new F1 regulations for the 2021 season. They're going to make sure that these drivers do not go over 88 miles per hour at any given time during the race. After conferencing with Dr. Emmett Brown, they found after 88 miles per hour, the drivers somehow just disappear. So we're not too sure what's happening right there, but that is the new thing. 3-second time penalty right there to Leafs Justin. And now every driver but J Mac Attack and Rangers have a time penalty that's going to affect their outcome at the end of this race. 3 seconds, like I said, now separate Skyline and Leaf Justin, actually 3.1. So that is not going to help him. David McSee right there in 4th place, running his darndest. Dion Ford Dub right there as well. J Mac Attack sitting in 6th, Gary from Canada in 7th, Icer 1 in 8th, More Than a Cape in 9th, and Tom Flitty in 10th. Going to be your top 10 drivers, your only 10 drivers here today for this Shake and Bake F1 race. 28 out of 33 laps have been raced, so we've got about 5 to go. Also, if you are a PC gamer, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is currently free through the Origin Store / Epic Store. If you want to pick that up, I picked it up a couple of days ago. And that's one of my favorite games. It's one of me and Bruce's all-time favorites to play. And getting it on computer, it looks great. And it's, you know, he's all computer now. So no more Xbox really for us other than I only have my Xbox subscription now for this Shake and Bake F1 series. That is it. Unless somebody asks me to do NASCAR Heat stuff, it's pretty much this and iRacing from now on. And it, you know, it really does bring, it makes it, you know, a lot better. When you're on PC and you can pull up Spotify, you know, you can do everything right there, where I feel like Xbox, you're constantly kind of having to go through stuff. And I've grown up with Xbox. I love Xbox. I'll always have Xbox. But I feel now I'm going to be a lot more keen on not getting it directly when it first comes out and waiting for it to go on sale and stuff like that. And, you know, when your best friend doesn't have Xbox and he has PC, you're going to play PC. I mean, that's how it is. Getting a better view right here. Dion Ford Dub slowly catching up right here to David McSee, 1989. Oh, man, he's got some loose tires. Look at that save right there coming out of the last turn. That could have been detrimental right there for Dion Ford Dub, but he is able to save it. And Rangers just growing that lead more and more between him and second place as we now get into the 9-second interval mark between first and second, 4 seconds between second and third. A lot of drivers probably wishing they had a caution just about right now. They could go in and get some fresh tires and have an all-out brawl for the last couple of laps, but I can tell you right now, every time that I've experienced a green-white checkered in iRacing or NASCAR Heat, it has led to wrecking, and let me tell you, even more wrecking, as the top drivers are all itching to get up there, and the guys in the back are just looking to make, you know, even more of a name for themselves. But we're going to see Gary from Canada lose a spot right there. Icer 1's going to be able to pull out in front. 7th place is where Icer 1's going to be sitting right now. Sector 1 is going to have a caution, yellow flag right there. But man, this has been Rangers' race. He outperformed everybody by 2 seconds in qualifying, and that has happened once again here today. Brother Man says, was in a race with you the other day. Hilarious. Keep up the good work. Greatly appreciate that, Brother Man. Greatly appreciate that as well, sir. I believe Brother Man was in a iRace with me, racing some either Xfinity or trucks. So greatly appreciate you, Brother Man, subscribing and tuning in, dude. And hopefully we'll play some more iRacing soon. That was fun. Keep seeing the same guys in there, like Mark Brewster and a couple of other guys. So Bruce, let me tell you something. The grain mustard, like the German grainy mustard, that is my favorite thing to put on a sneaker. That and a little bit of rubber, man, that makes for a good appetizer. As David McC, 1989, with multiple warning, is going to get a 3-second time penalty. I'm sorry. Man, oh man. Brother man, you were awesome for that. Brucey, I greatly appreciate you tuning in throughout this whole race and watching these guys ramp it up. But we are on lap 31 of 33. Yellow flag in sector 3. Once again, let's take a look back, and it's going to be more than a cape. Spinning out probably on worn out tires, unfortunately, going to be causing him to stay back in 9th place. Not really any more chance for him to gain any more positioning here during this shake and bake F1 race. But we're seeing Dion Ford Dub now. He's trying to get up there between him and David McC, 1989. We only have a few laps left, but this could be his chance. J-Mac may have a chance with the podium with all these time penalties. You're right. He really might. The biggest thing is, Bruce, is that there's a 16-second difference between 3rd and 4th. So that's going to be a big factor. Landbot. Oh my gosh. Rangers making his way, only 2 laps to go. He's on lap 32. As he passes the start-finish line, it'll be white flag for this race here today. Brother man, yes, that's what I thought. I haven't been touching Myrtle Beach either, so yeah. Xfinity's the way with Dion Ford Dub right there, getting a DNF. Not too sure what happened, but he is out of the race. That's going to affect everything. Icer1 now moving up into 6th. Gary from Canada. Dion Ford Dub is now going to fall all the way back, giving some of these other drivers that are towards the back of the pack a chance to get up one more spot, as Rangers is going to cross the start-finish line here very soon. Sector 3, yellow flag with more than a cape once again on those soft tires. They have just been worn down to the bone. They are about as bald as a baby's head, and they do not want to cooperate with that car. Rangers front straightaway, crossing the start-finish line. White flag is out for this Shake and Bake F1 series here today, live at the Spanish Grand Prix. At the Spanish Grand Prix. He has had a fantastic race. Skyline leaves Justin trailing 2nd and 3rd. David McC, 1989, and J-Mac Attack rounding up the top 5. But it will be the end of the race when we get to that final screen where we will actually know where everybody ended up. We know Rangers is probably going to end up winning it, but we'll see based on all the warnings and all of the time penalties if these drivers actually end up where it says. We saw Dion Ford Dub DNF. I believe he either blew out a big tire, like hit the wall and the tire popped off, or he got too many warnings here during this race. Can't believe I got 454 followers. You guys are great. With Brother Man subscribing, man, that is awesome. That's going to teeter me literally right there on the cusp of getting that next check. It's going to put me right there. So you don't know how much that means, man. I greatly appreciate that. And yep, that's awesome. Well, keeping it on the top car right now, since we don't have too much going on here towards the back. I do see Gary from Canada getting into it a little bit with Icer1. He's just trailing right there. But Rangers is going to cross the start-finish line and win here today for the Spanish Grand Prix Shake and Bake F1 Series. What a fantastic race by Rangers. He really pulled out all the stops. Skyline getting a 5-10-second time penalty for an unserved penalty right there. And we'll see where everybody stacks up. 3 minutes left to finish out this race. Skyline in 2nd, leaves Justin in 3rd. This is just temporary. We will see in just a moment where these guys actually end up. David McC in 4th, J-Mac Attack 5th. Those are unofficial results. We'll have the official results in just a few moments. Well, as we wrap up this stream, Brucey, brother man, greatly appreciate all of you guys, Anderson, tuning in for this Shake and Bake F1 race. It has been very, very fun chatting with you guys and watching them take on this Grand Prix. We will be back here same time, same place next week for this Shake and Bake F1 series. It'll be 1 o'clock next Saturday, Eastern Standard Time. There it is. So as we figured, Rangers is going to be your first place driver. Driver of the day going to be the Red Bull of David McC 1989. Big congrats to that driver right there. Loading into the official results as I speak. There are the 3 podium finishers. I can't tell who they are based off of the, I don't know the teams. I don't know who's with who, so I'll tell you in just a second. All right, so it's going to be Rangers, Skyline, Leafs Justin, David McC 1989, and J Mac Attack rounding up the top 5. Icer 1 and 6, Gary from Canada in 7th, More Than a Cape in 8th, Tom in 9th, and unfortunately for Dion for Dub, he raced hard, but he got a DNF, and that was going to put him at the back of the pack, unfortunately finishing last in 10th. That's going to finish it out here today for this Shake and Bake F1 series. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in once again, and we'll be back here next week, same time, same place, for another race for these Shake and Bake guys. Thanks everyone, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend.